York, Phoenix, and Houston, and the Celtics have held 6 straight opponents under 100. Oh my! Demarcus Cousins with a vicious dunk.
And that time he finishes it. He's found 7 on the shot. Look out.
His first time that Boogie shocked the world was during a full-court sprint with the Sacramento Kings. The Kings needed a big play against the Boston Celtics, and Cousins made sure to provide it. He ran all the way from one rim to another before leaping up and slamming it down hard on a young Jay Crowder underneath the rim.
Cousins. Full head of steam. Look out, ball!
Crowder wasn't the only player, though, to find themselves on the wrong end of a Cousins play. The Brooklyn Nets were completely unable to do anything about this Cousins spin move, even with multiple defenders surrounding him to try and stop him from getting to the rim. And seriously, when he wanted to rise up and throw it down, there wasn't anybody going to stand in his way. The primary defender here was in a desperate scramble just to try to keep him out of the paint. The Golden State Warriors watched Cousins rise up after a pick and roll and throw it down over the Los Angeles Lakers with one hand to bring the entire crowd to their feet. After what happened with Crowder earlier in this video, it might be a bad trend for opposing players to try to take charges against Boogie when he's driving to the cup.
Approach became much different. Cousins throws it down and stands over Kuzma.
Decides to go cruise control.
And let's get something straight here. Cousins doesn't just shock the world with his power and strength at the rim. The guy can get the job done out on the perimeter too, even when it's just distributing for his teammates. Cousins caught the ball behind the three-point line here and lofted one above multiple Portland Trailblazers defenders, and it resulted in a 180 alley-oop dunk from Anthony Davis. It honestly doesn't get much better than this. Even Boogie was running back on defense just smiling because he knew how crazy this was for a center to pull off.
In that game, but then came back. AD on the reverse! How about that lob boogie to AD?
Now, this next play is shocking, but in a little bit of a different way. During a battle against the Charlotte Hornets, Jeremy Lamb lost one of his shoes right in the middle of the play. Cousins saw the shoe right in front of him while he was waiting back on defense, but he didn't want anybody to slip on it, so he picked it up and gently tossed it off to the side near the front row. What was shocking is that the officials actually stopped the play and handed him a technical foul for throwing something into the stands. Personally, I'm going to have to disagree with a tech being handed out here, but that just makes the play 10 times more shocking.
And Cousins fired the shoe, is going to get a technical foul.
Okay, so in the playoffs, sometimes you got to do whatever it takes to win, right? And Dario Saric wanted to help the Phoenix Suns out however he could by attempting to avenge his poor defensive play on this possession. He left Cousins open for a little too long as the ball found him, and Boogie made sure to throw the hammer down all over Saric, knocking him down to the ground as he jumped up to try and block the shot. Honestly, Saric might as well have just sat down on the ground for a while because that's hard to come back from.
18 minutes so far in this postseason. Gets an early call here to start the 7th. Hands it off to Rondo. Right back to Cousins. Cousins for the slam and the foul.
And this next play, it would have been hard for Cousins to come back from if it didn't shockingly end up working out for him. Demarcus and the Sacramento Kings were up by just 1 point against the Cleveland Cavs with 3 minutes left to play in the game. Cousins pickpocketed Kyrie Irving of all people to start this fast break, but that's not even the craziest part of the play. Boogie led the break down the floor and went to move the ball up to cap it off, but it slipped out of his hands and into the hands of his teammate who was running next to him. He was able to catch it though, and he put the ball in the basket himself.
Stolen! Cousins! Here he comes! The big guy rumbling down the floor and he lost it before saving.
But on this one, Cousins didn't need an assist. He was able to get himself into beautiful position against the Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert. Cousins completely wrapped him up and ripped the ball straight away from him underneath the basket before running the floor with his teammates in transition. Cousins then got rewarded with a nice feed, which ended in a smooth finish and a foul on top of it.
Marcus Morris will man the middle.
How about with Kawhi Leonard? Only 3 field goal attempts and 2 points here. Great defense there by Cousins.
We also got to remember that Cousins only played limited action during this playoff run with the Clippers, so he had to make his minutes count. And speaking of minutes, he didn't have any of those to spare on this next one. The Kings were down by 2 points with just 2 seconds left to go in the game. Cousins got the inbounds pass and he instantly drove to the rim to try and send the game into overtime. After a little contact, Cousins got the shot off and sank the layup over the outstretched arms of Zaza Pachulia as the buzzer rang to stun the Dallas Mavs and force the game to keep on rolling.
Seconds to go, and Dallas up 2. It's Cousins driving. He got it!
Now, this entire game is one of those shocking performances that you see on the stat sheet. Cousins was playing for the Kings still here, and he was going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team with a ridiculously talented Kevin Love at the time. Love got a lot of attention with 43 points and 11 rebounds, but Cousins was the one who stole the show for Sacramento. He dropped 35 points, had 15 rebounds, and oh, by the way, he notched 6 assists to drag the Kings to a huge victory against the Wolves and Love. Both of these guys had an incredibly exciting duel that night, but Cousins was the one who got the last laugh. Okay, so far in this video, we haven't really gotten to talk about the dribble moves that Cousins picked up over the years. Just take a look at how he maneuvers through the entire Lakers defense, including a nasty crossover at the top of the key. He later rolled on into the paint and hit a layup just to get the fans going. It's pretty rare to see a center put the moves on someone like that.
14. Cousins. Look at the big man taking inside. What a play!
But that wasn't the only time he showed us his moves. Just check out this clutch play against the Nets with just a few seconds left. Cousins wasted no time getting the Kings on the board by hitting a behind-the-back dribble move to absolutely dismantle the legendary Kevin Garnett as he blew right past him and dunked the ball to bring the score within 3 points. I'm telling you guys, Garnett probably could have used a map on this one. Now, during his time in Sacramento, Cousins seemed to come up huge a lot. Here, as the score was tied at 83 during a game against the Phoenix Suns, the coach drew up a play for Cousins to end the game. He sized up his defender and actually got locked up pretty good. However, he moved around at the last second and somehow got the shot off as it rolled around the rim and dropped in to send the Suns home with a loss.
Cousins for the win. Yes, it's all over.
Because Cousins, we had to wait and see if that ball would fall. And the fans are going to leave here happy. Another look.
Sometimes you can put 2 or even 3 players in the paint against Cousins, and it just isn't enough. The young Oklahoma City Thunder tried to put 3 defenders in the area of Cousins as he worked his way to the rim, and he just overpowered them. He split the defense, and while he missed the first layup attempt, he was able to snag his own rebound and slammed it down hard before flexing to let those Thunder guys know he's here to stay.
0.
Cousins, reverse layup, no, got it back. Oh, he throws it down.
And Cousins was definitely here to stay for this next game with the Kings. They were going up against the Charlotte Hornets, and Cousins didn't want to lose in any way. He came out and sent a message to everybody watching, dropping 56 points, a career high for him at the time, and it just looked like there was nothing the Hornets could do to save themselves from his relentless scoring. To make this performance 10 times more shocking, though, the Kings actually lost this game in double overtime. Talk about one man literally trying to carry a team.
So 56 points, 12 rebounds for Demarcus Cousins.
All right, finally, we've got this last clip of Boogie scoring his first bucket with the Golden State Warriors. Kevin Durant worked around his defender and found a rolling Cousins who didn't lose any steam as he flew towards the rim and threw the hammer down. It was actually his first points in over a year coming off an injury, and what better way to break that streak than to slam it down hard to kick your first game off with your new team. I'm pretty sure the Clippers didn't expect him to come out that explosive after missing so much time.
All 5 guys on the floor can pass, including this guy. Cousins up high for the throw.